publishers and advertisers should work together to improve their performance on mobile, meaning that advertisers need to talk to publishers and understand how the format is looking, or actually talk to publishers, mobile publishers across different verticals to understand what's the difference in formats between, let's say, social or messaging or games. And publishers need to understand what the advertisers are actually looking for. Is it a conversion? Is it the sign up? Is the registration? Is it just reading the content? So there needs to be a dialogue between the two parts, and it has to be enabled by technology in order to let's say create efficiencies in this ecosystem. There are a lot of new things happening in the mobile advertising market. I will start first with the most recent one, which is native video. There's a lot of articles going around about it right now. I wouldn't say there are so many best practices, but they are coming up, and I would say that's one of the recent developments. There's also some talk about VR native advertising, or native advertising in VR or AR environments, but that's much earlier stages, and we're probably going to see it much later on. I would start with the publishers. So publishers, in order to improve the native advertising, they need to first try native advertising. So they need to start somewhere, integrate some native units, and then A/B test the performance. So they need to constantly change the native advertising and understand what works best for their users, for their audience. The same applies from the advertiser side, but from a different perspective. They need to understand which users they are targeting and which format works best, which type of audiences, which vertical of app. Is it a social app? Is it a utility app? Is it an entertainment app? Fits best with their goals. And different advertisers have different goals, and those goals fit different publishers. So they need to understand, let's say, the new order of mobile advertising, where each app has a different type of audience fitting to a different type of advertiser. A topic dear to me is about transparency. I truly believe that if advertisers know where their ads is being served and to whom, and the publishers know who is buying that eventually and at what price, we can increase the dialogue I mentioned before, and increase the efficiencies, create better value for both the advertiser and the publisher, and maybe even in the end for the user who would be seeing better ads. I would say what's happening currently in the mobile native space is dominated by Facebook, which is one of the walled gardens. So Facebook Audience Network, just to be precise, where advertisers don't necessarily know where their ads is being shown. They know the user, obviously, because they have the Facebook data, but they don't know where exactly the ad is being shown and how it's being shown. Obviously, Facebook is working to improve performance there, but for example, if they know exactly where the ad is being shown and the audience they targeted, they could buy that audience directly from the publisher, cutting the middleman, generating more revenues for the publisher, paying maybe less, and there will be a less margin in between. So that would be one of the advantages of transparency versus the lack of transparency. Mobile native advertising, or native advertising in general, the way I see it, has to fit not just the form and the function of the content is being seen of, but also it has to be contextual. You need to understand what the user is seeing, how he's interacting with the app or the content he's currently having, and show an ad that's targeted towards that behavior or towards that time that he's seeing, in order for him to get value out of that advertising. So that applies to both publishers and advertisers, I would say.